Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom Into Wine. It's time for the show and your host, Ian Blackburn.
Let's let the games begin tonight. We've got the stars of Argentina, Chile, and California. And anything to keep my mind off of the Dodger baseball game. The Dodgers are getting beat up right now. What can I say? But we did just get 2 runs from an A.J. Pollock home run. So we'll see how we pull this one together.
Yeah, how about the Red Sox game, though?
I haven't had time to even look, Benjamin. What's up with that? How'd they do?
Don't ask.
Okay.
Please, no more updates on the Dodger game. Some of us are taping it.
I'll do that because I'm gonna watch it later myself. So
Good, thank you. No more updates on the Dodgers.
All right, we'll do our best. All right. So Greg Guerra, thank you for joining us tonight. How are you, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Where are you tuning in?
We had a fun time last week.
Yeah, outstanding. We've got Greg Guerra's here. He's our charitable 501c3 connection through the group that he's working with. Greg's almost always at a concert. What are you going to next, buddy?
What's next? Nothing on the agenda. Actually, I'm working at the Hollywood Bowl.
Yeah, you're doing the Grateful Dead tour, right?
Yeah, just those 4 shows at the Hollywood Bowl, and the night before doing some ticketing for the Jonas Brothers.
All right.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, make sure you wear those protective earplugs.
I will. I'm excited. First time there.
We just went to see Dave Grohl together, and he can't hear anyone. He's completely deaf. Well, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. We've got some great wines and some great things to learn and some amazing people that are going to be speaking. And so let's dive right in. And let me open up our PowerPoint. Make sure that everybody get the email that has all the lovely assets that we created. We've got a little tasting mat that you could download. There's a brochure that shows you MSRP pricing and stuff on all the wines. We have some really special pricing for you guys tonight, and a discount code is going to hit your email at 8 o'clock tonight in our reminder email at 8 o'clock. That discount code will be good for 24 hours, so purchase tonight or purchase tomorrow morning, and we'll get these wines out to you as quickly as possible. I will say that the wineries also appreciate your support. Also, the charity has so many different auction items. Greg, will you put that charity link into the chat box?
I will. I'm actually just typing in the chat box right now to let everybody know. Don't be nervous if you see Stars of Merlot, because we've decided to combine tonight's auction with the auction next week for Stars of Merlot. And we just wanted to make it a more robust auction with a ton of items. So that's going to run starting tonight all the way until October 28th.
Good. I'm glad you remembered to tell people that. We've got the Stars of Merlot next week as well. It is Merlot month. So they came to us and asked us if we could do something. And it's looking really good. An amazing event. I think you'll enjoy tonight, so let's go right into it. And I'll check in on people in just a moment. But tonight we're going to hear from Piero Incisa della Rocchetta. When you have 4 names like that, that means you're somebody special. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. This is the grandson of Tenuta Sanguido and Sesacaya, and he is a fascinating person. I got to meet him here in Los Angeles when he was going to school at Pepperdine, and he is now out there in the working world doing all kinds of stuff. Still involved with Sesacaya, but he has started his own brand, and it's wine number 1 called Chakra. Go ahead and get that in your glass and take a look. It's a Pinot Noir from Argentina, and that's how we're going to get our night started tonight. All right, now we have the great pleasure of welcoming Piero Incisa della Rocchetta live from Bulgari, Italy. How are you doing, Piero?
I'm great. How are you?
Awesome. You're at Sesacaya right now?
Yes, I'm in the family estate and catching the almost like an Indian summer. So it's kind of amazing. Great weather.
Well, I really appreciate you making time for us. I know you're got some amazing things happening. So let's get right into it and talk about this incredible project, this beautiful brand that you've created in Patagonia, Argentina. How did you decide Patagonia was where you wanted to go?
I think that it was almost a fluke. I decided earlier on that I wanted to venture on my own and establish my own domain. I've always had a fondness for Pinot, so I did a crush in Oregon at DDO. The Drouin were very gracious to have me. And after attending the Wine Spectator in 2001 on behalf of my family vineyard, I drank wine blind at dinner that night, which came from this valley in Rio Negro, Argentina. And we all felt that the wine was from Burgundy. In reality, when they uncovered the bottle, the wine was from Argentina. The wine per se was not incredible, but it had some very interesting characteristics that were both varietal and surprising. So being young and maybe not particularly smart, I hopped on a plane without speaking the language nor know exactly where I was going. And I landed in this valley in Rio Negro, which it's astounding because from the air, nothing gives the impression that this is a wine region for Pinot because you're more in a desert than anything else. And so it turns out that these families of Pinot Noir adapted itself to the microclimate. You can see it on the slide right now, and they were thriving. And we managed to, after 20 years of hard work and a very committed team, we brought it back to life. And now we feel very privileged to have this.
Yeah, the genetic material being so aged and never ever has it been anything but sustainable or organic. It's always been farmed that way, right?
It's a long conversation. I know we're pressed for time, but basically we're in a microclimate that is absolutely outstanding and astounding, in the sense that we're used in Europe in dealing with a lot of disease and pests, such as Pronospora, Philospora, Tignola, or Oidium. Once you get to this valley, the humidity hovers between, let's say, 25% to 40%. So there is no pest, there is no disease, there is no Philospora, there is no Pronospora, there is no Oidium. And so we are living in a place that is completely free of any diseases that a vineyard can catch. So, of course, the vineyards were already organic because they were semi-abandoned. And the people that farmed them did not have enough resources to treat them chemically. We have a great team that really is devoting their life to, taking care of this vineyard. So we're very privileged.
Mm. And you have some folks that would they be indigenous folks helping you on the property?
Yeah, so Chakra is a little bit, we've been remote working since inception because when I started the vineyard, I also had to sell the wine. And I spend more or less 6 to 7 months a year in the estate. And there is a great team that is composed by Italians, but also Argentines and also some Peruvians. So it's really more than one culture, more than one nationality coming together. But it works great. We have the same goal. That's our shared interest. So we're very privileged that way.
That's beautiful. Is it a good place for people to put on their calendar to visit?
It depends what kind of a person you are. If you are a person that is fine to spend some alone time in a very quiet place without restaurants or nightclubs or high-end hotels, yes. Chakra is beautiful, it's uncontaminated. It's not just a winery, it's a farm. We don't believe in monoculture, so we do all sorts of cultivation to increase, enhance, and preserve our biodiversity. So if you're okay then being alone and read a book, maybe play some tennis, and have a lot of food and drink a lot of wine, absolutely, yes.
That doesn't sound too bad to me. Yeah, so again, always been and always have been organic, biodynamic, and you've had some amazing progress. So you bought the location in what, around 2002, 2003?
Yeah, we bought a location. I mean, I acquired it without payment on a handshake in 2002. This was a very old gentleman, Italian gentleman from northern Italy, and I purchased the vineyard 1.5 years after the handshake. So Chakra is a little bit like a research and development winery. We dedicate a large portion of our resources and time to completely experiment. We're making wines that are free of chemicals and free of sulfur. Most of the time we don't filter the wines. So when you're making this wine in this fashion, the wine are practically naked. And therefore we have to be much more precise, much more quick. We have to be extremely clean. So we have to be precise, because I don't like breadth, I don't like volatility, I don't like mouth, I don't like extreme reduction in the reds. And this takes an obsessive kind of approach to farming. Once your farming job is done, you just have to try not to mess it up in the vineyard. So there is a sort of eclat, of an electricity to these wines. I always say that we like to make red wines that taste a little bit more like white wines, in the sense that I like red wines that are low in alcohol, that are fresh, they have a strong acidity or energy, however we want to describe that. And most and foremost, they're also food friendly and can be drank like glue wine. So something that truly gives you a great pleasure, as opposed to having wine that are very concentrated or extracted, or they have a high alcohol component. And I hope that we are succeeding in that. You know, nothing is added to our wine, is spontaneous fermentation with indigenous yeast, and then 3 weeks of maceration, and here they are.
Well, we appreciate your time here, and but it's always fascinating to connect with you. You're having some tremendous success. Comments like wine of the year, 100-point scores.
Yes.
You carry a couple of the white wines, which you have a partner,
Yes.
Jean-Marc Rouleau,
Yes.
Which is tremendous. And you're making the Pinot Noirs, and you've got a number of Pinot Noirs as well, right, Piero?
Yeah, so our range starts with Barda, which means the ridge. It's a fantastic wine, in my opinion, because the average vineyard that produces the grapes for Barda is 25 years old. As you know, most of the crew are made from vineyards that are 20 plus years old. So to have for the lack of a better word, an entry-level wine from vineyards that are so old, that is organic and biodynamic, and all vineyards are ungrafted, it's a luxury. I don't know many other people that have this genetic material, and so I think we are providing a wine that is very fresh, very clean. It's meant to be drank young, and it's got a lot of very clean fruit, and is also very floral. Then we have some single vineyard wines, of which the vineyards were planted in 1955 and in 1932. Besides the age of the vineyard, they also have different mineral composition that determine, of course, the characteristics of the wine. We treat all grapes and all wines the same way. We ferment everything the same way. We make wine with full bunches, with no chemical interventions, no tartaric acid, no added tannins, absolutely nothing. Of course, then you spoke about the whites. It's a very exciting, at the same time humbling process for us. And a little bit of a fun fact this year, for the second time in the history of Chakra, the blend for the white wines was made by Jean-Marc, Gabriele, and myself here in Bulgaria. So a Frenchman comes to Italy, and with two Italian men, they're making the blend of a Chardonnay that is made in Patagonia. And so it's kind of like a sign of times, you know?
Beautiful, great chemistry, great energy, as you say, and I really appreciate your time. Please.
Thank you.
Thank your son for bringing energy to our Zoom.
So thank you for everyone.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And we all appreciate your effort. And we hope
it's a teamwork. Remember, I'm just one small part of the team. And I mean that.
You're putting together a beautiful team and a beautiful message. So we'll celebrate that. And thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much. I hope to see you soon.
You too, Piero. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right. So, you're working your staff too hard when my wonderful technician cut out the part where Piero's son brings him a rose from his garden. I thought it was the greatest part of the video, but she cut it out. And I said, "What's wrong with you? What happened to your heart, your soul? It would have been a great part to include." But we were supposed to keep that to 8 minutes. It went to 10, so she was doing her job. But the family is all there together, and his son is obviously about 2 or 2.5, and he's an amazing guy, and he's got an amazing outlook on things. And when you can partner with a brand called, it's not a partner with a brand. Let me clarify. He wanted to make great Chardonnay. So he reached out to one of his compatriots, a man that he's known for a while in Burgundy, and Jean-Marc Rouleau in Merceau. The wines of Rouleau Merceau sell for $400, $500, $600, $700, $800 a bottle or more, and brought that talent and that name to his property in Patagonia. And Jean-Marc's not just a consulting winemaker, he is a partner in the Chardonnay production. So this is a way for them to expand their vision in Burgundy as well. So it's truly an international project. Michael Murrieta is on the Zoom with us. Michael represents this house. Michael?
Hi, everybody. Hi, my name is Mike. I work for Co-Brand Wines. We import Bodega Chacra into the United States, and, as well as Tinto Sanguido. They're a Sassicaia Italian brand. I'm here if anybody has any questions tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a beautiful wine. It's delicious. I know they mentioned the videos, but it's organic, biodynamic, sustainable, all that fun stuff. He didn't talk too much about it, but I remember I worked with Piero. He was here in the LA market in September of 2019. And he was talking about when they pick. And most wineries actually pick based on, they measure the sugar levels in the wine, which is called the brix. And he was basically walking through the vineyard one day on his way to the winery, and he tasted the grapes and was like, "These are amazing, like it's ready to go, let's pick." And his winemaking team was like, "Hang on, let's test the brix." So they tested, like, "No, it's not ready yet." So they went back and forth, and they made half the wine based on taste and half made based on brix that year. And they liked the one based on taste better. So now they actually taste the grapes and like, "Okay, cool, this is ready to go." And they test it later just for a reference point. But I always thought that was really cool that they just kind of taste the grapes and they say, "This is ready to go," instead of relying on science. And it's just kind of getting back to that biodynamic and doing what's the best you can do with what the land gives you, and just really making sure that terroir comes forward.
Yeah, I got to tell you, we have a great price on our website. Mike, will you do earmuffs for me? Because you're the importer. I don't want you to know. We're $25.95. The MSRP on this wine is $34 nationwide. And for $25, I find this wine extraordinary. I will say that I let mine get a little too cool, and there's a point where I like the temperature to be cool but not cold, and so I went and got my vial, which was I kept it in the refrigerator to keep it cool, and it got too cold. So I went and got the bottle that's been open for 2 days, and I poured that in the glass, and the room temperature is just a much better spot for this wine. And it's got a softness and a texture and a temperament that's really, really elegant and pretty and balanced. And this doesn't necessarily smell or taste like it's from some place that shouldn't be making Pinot Noir. It's very varietal. And this is his entry point. This is he does make higher end wines. In fact, I just want to show you real quick something you can do. We don't have all the wines because when Suckling gave them big scores, they disappear quite quickly, but they will get one of the top spots, Winery of the Year or Wine of the Year, because he did get a couple 100-point scores on his lineup. Right now I have, this is the hint, if you go up and press this little Q thing and just enter any wine you want to find, you can just enter it. If you want to just find, Argentinian Chardonnay, you can put that in the search too. But I did get an allocation of a few bottles of the 97-point Chardonnay made by Jean-Marc, as well as the wine that's about half as much and got a 94-point score. The 2020, I'm not sure, has even been reviewed yet. I know it came into the ports and was in our showroom immediately. It's probably a month in the market, maybe at the most. And so
yeah, I would say not even.
Not even. I mean, it was just bottled and put on a truck and got here. So this wine will radically continue to evolve, but it's got this freshness to it, and with all the natural processes that he's putting in place, low carbon footprint, no wax, no foil on the top to really reduce.
So no foil. They actually use a lighter weight glass than most wine bottles, just to reduce the shipping weight, and just all about reducing the carbon footprint of the winery. That's why he doesn't put foils on, because foils, they help keep the cork clean and all that fun stuff, but they really don't do a whole lot. It's more of a cosmetic thing. So the thinking is, why put the foil on there and have more weight? So they forego the foil on the Barda, and they put the wax caps on some of the other wines just for ageability. But the Barda, like Piero mentioned, is meant to be drunk young and fresh and within 2 or 3 years, and it's a beautiful wine.
Mike works at Co-Brand, where that's the company I got to work with back in the late 90s and into the mid 2000s, and Co-Brand represents a really diverse group of brands that are very high quality, and they just recently picked up the brand Montez as well. So Mike, will you hold on for a minute while we get to meet Aurelio Montez? We go from one stud to another in this program.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom into Wine. It's time for the show and your host, Ian Blackburn.
So here at Stars, we love to bring the best in the business together, and we're very proud to introduce everyone to Aurelio Montez, who's in Santiago, Chile today at his corporate headquarters. Really a pleasure to meet you, Aurelio.
Oh, Ian, thank you for the invitation. I'm very happy to talk about our wines and Chile.
Fantastic. Well, you're a great ambassador, not just for your brand, but for Chilean wines. And so it's really exciting, and we're very excited to have your beautiful Carmenere today. So I think you have a PowerPoint. We'll have you go into that, and as questions occur, I'll pop in, but this is your show.
Okay, great. So I'm going to start sharing the presentation. So, today we're going to talk about one of the most beautiful grapes that we have here in Chile, Carmenere. Carmenere it's one of the most amazing grapes I ever worked with. But one of the reasons why we love so much is because Carmenere is one of the most difficult and complicated grapes to grow. That's why there's only in only a few places in the world you can find Carmenere, specifically Chile. Why? Because Chile is a geographical island. It's an amazing country, long, narrow, in the corner of South America. But the good things about Chile is that we have a wall in the north called Atacama Desert, the driest desert of the world, that stops any influence of insect pest. Then we have in the east the Andes Mountains that stop all the influence or all kind of pest. Then in the west, the Ocean Pacific, very strong and heavy ocean. And then we have in the south, the Patagonian ice fields. That allowed us to protect our grapes. And that's why we have been able to keep this grape against this, especially phylloxera, for many, many years. If we add another thing that's very important, Chile is not only a geographical island, also we have a huge influence of the Ocean Pacific. Our ocean is really cold. It's even cooler than California ocean. Take down the temperature of the environment, and also geographically talking, it's that allowed us to have a very clear summer, spring, autumn. So at the end of the day, during summer, we don't have rains. We have a very rainy winter. We have a very rainy and not rainy autumn, and then or spring, and then in summer we don't have no rains, and also normally during autumn. So that allowed us to ride the Cabernet so well. Cabernet, it's one of the most difficult part of Cabernet is to get the correct ripeness. You need to wait so long that you're always scared because the rain from winter are getting closer, and you don't want to get any rain because destroy the quality of the Cabernet. That's why it's so important to have a very dry summer. Then, small part of the history. These are the 4 crazy partners that start with Montez. In the beginning, when many people doesn't know, but we were the first boutique winery born in Chile, made by these 4 crazy guys that build, our image through the angels. Here, we love angels, we love the image, and here we have different, concept of angels, and that's why all our Cabernet, including our Cabernet, have this angel that represent, elegance, represent also, tradition, represent, pureness. So at the end, we have all type of angels, from the drunk angels, from the happy angel, and the romantic angel. We have all of them in our wines. And then, well, of course, that as a winemaker, I can tell you that we're not magicians. We don't transform bad grapes in good wines. We transform good, excellent grapes into good wines. So our effort is focused on the vineyard. And here, Cabernet, as I told you before, is located in Colchagua. We're gonna do a zoom, okay, now into Colchagua Valley, and specifically, the Alpha Cabernet is made from 2 vineyards. One from Apalta, that spot there in the middle of the valley is Apalta. It's an amazing vineyard, steep slopes, very crazy plantation, beautiful, amazing quality. This Cabernet gives us all the elegance. It's not a strong Cabernet, but it's very elegant with a lot of finesse.
Is that too steep for a tractor?
It is. Here, it's impossible to go with a tractor. Here, you have to use human hand labor. It's so steep that sometimes in autumn when we harvest, we need to use special shoes to go down. It's very steep. Of course, here in the picture, you can really realize how steep it is, but it's impossible for a tractor.
Yeah.
Then we have Martihue, that is closer to the ocean, that gave us, instead of the finesse, it gave us the power. It's like a wild black horse, running in the mountains. Here, because we're closer to the ocean, we get the breeze of the ocean. It's a little bit cooler than Apalta, but here, looks, no mountains. Here's rolling hills, dry. It looks like savanna. It's only 50 miles from Apalta, but all the geography changed completely. Completely. So these are the main components that I use for the Cabernet, and also we use a little bit of other grapes like Cabernet Sauvignon, could be Petit Verdot, depend on the wine, depend on the year, to make the wine even more complex. Finally, that's, even if not the most important part, but it is important for the process, the winery, where we process the Montez Alpha Cabernet, 100% Feng Shui winery. And one of the things that we do that's very special, that we love it, is that we play music to the wine. People think that we're crazy. Well, sometimes yes, but it's because we did a big study about the influence of the environment into the wine. And we realized that if you play a specific type of music that we define to use Gregorian chant music, the evolution of the wine was always better. Nothing of what I do is extremely different. Sometimes it's small difference, but if you add better things to do during the process, at the end of the day, you gain more quality. So that's why we believe in taking care about these small specific things. And all this wine stayed in these French barrels for 12 months, okay, before we rack and we bottle for at least 1 year. So this is the Montez Alpha Carmener. This is I have to tell you something. In the last 2 years has been the biggest growth of Montez. This is the variety that will grow more, because people sometimes they're not expecting anything about Carmener. They don't know what to expect out of Carmener. But when they try the grape, when they try the wine, they get in love because it's soft, beautiful silky tannins, ripe at the same time with some spiciness in the nose, and then with a very long finish. So it's a wine that, what I say, it's perfect for lovers and perfect for people that's just beginners in the wine industry, because it's so easy to understand, but at the same time so complex that's make so wonderful and charming this Carmener.
Beautiful. Fantastic.
So this, it's.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Zoom.
There we go. If that guy could get cast as the new host of the new like Fantasy Island, I think that would work. I love his accent. I love his presentation. Really a fantastic personality. And I hope you guys enjoyed the wine. How did you guys like the Carmener out there? Gail, Ken, that's a big thumbs up there. The chat box is active. I'd love for you guys to, scream at each other, make some comments, ask any questions that you guys have. We have a lot of live producers on the Zoom as well. You're welcome to be engaged and answer questions. But we appreciate everyone being here. We just went from Argentina to Chile, and now we're going to. First, Mike, any closing comments about the Montez?
The Montez is great. Obviously, I hope you guys are all enjoying it. Carmener is originally one of the Bordeaux varietals and kind of disappeared, and it was discovered down in Chile, and they actually thought it was Merlot, not Carmener, until they did a little genetic test on it, little Ancestry.com test on it in the mid-90s, and realized, wait, that's not Merlot, it's actually Carmener. So it was kind of rediscovered and has been kind of become the grape of Chile. So Montez actually makes a higher end wine, Purple Angel, and it's pretty famous, and it's mostly Carmener with a little bit of Syrah, and it's one of the most famous wines in the world as far as being wine. This is its little brother and gets some of the grapes that don't make it up into the Purple Angel. So great pedigree there. I think it's delicious and great with food, great on its own. And he was talking about all the different styles of food it goes. Couldn't agree more, especially with I don't know if you mentioned it just now, but the lamb. I think this wine and lamb would just be amazing together. But I'm going to be on for a few more minutes. I'm going to check the chat. If you guys have any questions, please pop them in there.
Fantastic. All right, let's move on to wine number 3. Benjamin Silver, you are on the Zoom now, and I'm going to spotlight you for a moment.
All righty then.
There you are.
Okay, seems like my signal is very unstable, so we'll see how it goes.
All right.
In and out.
It worked out.
So,
see, I'm going to go right into the PowerPoint for you, okay?
Yeah. There I am.
There you are. And how did you get?
All right.
How did you get to Santa Barbara, man?
I drove. I put my bike in the back seat. July 1994. Took Highway 70.
And you were making wine out on the East Coast?
I had a, yes. So I started on the island of Martha's Vineyard. I, by mistake, got a job during college working at Massachusetts' first bonded winery, Shikama Vineyard. So I lived in, the winery was in West Tisbury, but I lived in Vineyard Haven, which was dry. And I had the best summer of my life. So that was the introduction to the wine industry.
Cool. And your dad was a teacher at Amherst, you said?
He taught organic chem at Amherst College, and had most of the pre-meds. I get some of his students that are now have been doctors. They contact me. They think it's pretty cool that Professor Mark Silver's son's making wine in California. So.
How awesome! And did that translate into you being prolific in the labs?
It's I'd like to think so. I used to do birthday parties with chemiluminescence when I was about 8 or 9 years old, where we turned the lights out and the solution would turn 3 to 4 different colors. It made everybody want to be chemists. So I am strong in blending. So that is my forte. If you haven't noticed, a lot of my wines have, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. In fact, the wine tonight, the 17, has as we were talking about before, has a little bit of Sangiovese in there to balance it out. It's all about what the wine needs and the vintage needs and what to do to make it a complete wine.
Well, when we talked with Benjamin about Cabernet Franc, we wanted to show off some. We got Carmenere from Chile. We've got Malbec from Argentina. We've got some Cab Franc from California. So it's really fun to talk about these, Bordeaux varieties and also to kind of cross network with the different weather, the different soils, the different exposures. And what were some of your inspirations when you put this wine together, Benjamin?
Well, as we were saying with the, I started at Zacca Mesa, and I used to see when we used to do custom crush, I got to see varietals that we weren't producing. And in that realm, Cab Franc came in the door every year with Artisan Phillips and a few other people. I think I forgot if Dan Gears was making it under his own label, and really fell in love with it. It was obviously built for the table and loved the spice, and it was at home in Santa Barbara County. So that was what my go-to. Stoltman was nice enough to sell me fruit, which was very hard to get in 1996, 1997. And that ended up being the beginning of my entire brand when I came to market in 2001 with, Cab Francs from Stoltman, with a little bit of, one vintage had a little bit of Merlot in it. One vintage had a little bit of probably Cabernet, just a touch in the back end. And so that was the 97, 98, and went from there. And I was saying, one of the coolest things, I had to switch vineyards as a lot of the Cabernet Franc was virused. The vines were virused. So vineyard owners were pulling it up and not replanting it. It's always kind of a shame because whenever you see a new Cab Franc vineyard going in, it's going to be young vines and it's going to cost a lot of money. And Cabernet Franc really, when it's young vines, it makes a very kind of boisterous bistro red versus a complex, layered exotic wine. And so I tend to stick to the older vineyards as I can, or graft it onto older vines. And that has really been fun. It's made some, the other thing that's interesting about Cab Franc is that I had a conversation with another winemaker many years ago about in order to make a high-end Cab Franc, you really need to blend at least 3 vineyards. And the reason for that is the people planting Cab Franc, they weren't planting numerous different clones into the same blocks, into the same vineyards. And Cab Franc is just one of those varietals that you really need to have the balance comes from multiple different angles, and the different clones are very polarized. So in this case, though, with Buttonwood's old vines that are own rooted in Solvang, it only took a few percent of Sangiovese to stick the blend. It really is a complete wine from start to finish.
How long has the 2017 been available? Because, man, is it good.
Yeah. It's so I've kind of been, I'm a wine hoarder, and I dribble out the wines. I really want them to be approachable, and 17 is such a big vintage. The answer is it's been available for maybe 4 months, I think. 154 cases, and but a bestseller in the tasting room by far.
And what kind of wood are you using here?
Well, for the most part, I've gone to all older barrels. On my other stuff, I tend to do larger format barrels, especially my 100% Sangioveses and Nebbiolo. But Cab Franc, it tends to just be older seasoned French oak. This one seems aromatically, as I've watched a bottle of this 17 evolve over 3 days with my little.
I think we lost him, but that was a pretty good run there. There you're back. You're back. I see you there, Ben. You cut out for me for a second.
To be like right around day 2.
Yeah, to be able to open this wine and give it the air it needs. I think the little decanters work really well for it. It's great out of both the bottle and the decanter. And I'd love to hear some people make some comments or ask questions to Ben about the wine.
I would the problem that I've typically encountered with Cab Francs is they can be very vegetable. This is not. I've been told that it's partly because you let it hang, and it's a late, apparently, ripening wine anyway. But you got to have the guts to let it hang for a while, and that. But this is wonderful, and of course, as I was saying before we got started, we go back a very long time. We first met. There used to be this little wine shop in a little old White House outside of Los Olivos. He passed away and it's long gone, but he used to hold like some little events there, and that's when we met him for the first time, and we were both a bit younger then. But yeah, it was, and we followed him for many years now.
I've done an event at that tasting room. I remember.
Bob Sen's place.
Yes.
Yes, the Wine and Spirits Emporium in Los Olivos.
Yep.
That was it.
Sure. The Pinot and Mushroom Magic was a popular event.
Yep.
Very nice. Anyone else? Any other comments? How are you doing there, Lauren Stalker?
Yeah, really good down here. The sun's setting. Everything's fabulous.
Down in San Diego. And
three good wines, by the way. Everything's been rock star so far.
Ben, I have a question. I've been to Buttonwood Winery. How are you connected to the winery, or you just get your grapes from their vineyards?
Yes, I'm considered grandfathered in and a friend of theirs for many, many, many years. So I'm treated well and they allow me, if they have extra to purchase fruit, I just buy a few tons because it's not a big block. The whole block is 3.4 acres. So I was gonna say the nice old vines really produce not that much fruit, and it has to be kept. The crop has to be kept in check no matter what for it to get thoroughly ripe. So that kind of covers it.
Got it. Great winery.
Yeah.
Great friends too. We've got friends out in Hacienda Heights, Tara Kamali and her group. Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are having a good time. Thanks for joining the Zoom. I see the whole group there. Hi, Terry.
Hi, Ian. Thank you. We were wondering what cane pruning was.
The pruning at Buttonwood? That's a good question. I believe it is all spur pruned versus cane pruned.
But can you explain the differences? We're interested.
That sounds like Zoom.
Sorry, Ian. We're not in an enology school.
Yeah, but
So
basically the idea is that they take here. There's a pretty good video on YouTube. I'll send it over on the chat so everybody can get it. But let me see where to go.
Awesome. Thank you. We don't want to take up too much of your time.
No, it just that question could kill us. So we'll
yeah. I do want to mention that for Cab Franc lovers, there is occasionally, usually pre-COVID, almost every year, a Franc Fest that Buttonwood holds with about 10 to 14, 15 different wineries pouring Cab Francs. And I've been known to pour library wines, multiple vintages. So it's really fun. So if you're into Cab Franc, then you should definitely reach out to Buttonwood.
Benjamin, where's your tasting room?
So downtown Santa Barbara in the historic Presidio neighborhood. So I'm in the El Paseo, where El Paseo restaurant is. And there are about 4 or 5 other tasting rooms. Happy Canyon, Grassini, Jamie Sloan, Sabata, Au Bon Clement.
Nice.
Yeah. And the Winecast restaurant, of course, or Intermezzo, and I guess it'll still be called Winecast.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well, thank you, Benjamin. Appreciate you being here.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
And for all the years of support too. We've been working together for a very long time. I always love your wines. I've done so many things, like Benjamin's Tawny Port was a backbone of my wine, cheese, and chocolate program forever. Pinot Noir, really beautiful artisan touches. So you're great at what you do. And if you guys want to support a really good guy locally, Benjamin Silver's your guy. Noette and Brian are on the Zoom down in the Costa Mesa area. Friends from LA that repositioned to Orange County. Hi, guys. How are you? I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Wait, unmute.
Irvine.
Irvine,
Costa Mesa.
Not Costa Mesa.
No? All right. I've been there.
We're leaving the Zoom. We're done. We're going to watch the Dodgers game now.
I did lose someone for I forgot what she did for a living, and I said, "Oh, how's it going working there?" She got really pissed off that I didn't remember.
Oh no.
Well, thanks to you, I had to whip this out tonight.
Yeah, we've only had it for like 5 years or something. So it was a little too much for us.
Yeah, you guys can do it. I know you.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here.
Good to see you.
Hi, Emily Little. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Good to be back.
I'm glad you could do this. Thank you so much. Where are you zooming in from?
Redondo Beach.
All right. Covering all of painting the whole town. Sue Green, how are you? Good to see you again. I'll get you unmuted.
There. I'm
you
good.
are.
I'm good. So far, I've loved the first three wines. They were wonderful.
That's the whole plan behind the stars. We want to always have really beautiful stuff, so we make sure that we can bring it out there and be very proud of it. And it's really fun to introduce you to some new ideas and new things. Maybe you haven't tried a Carmenere. Maybe you haven't had a wine from Benjamin Silver. So
No, I haven't. And I love Cab Franc. It's one of my favorites, and this was a really good one. So.
I see the name Thomasine on this on the Zoom screen. I believe that's probably not your first name.
Thomasine, yes.
Yes.
But I go by Tommy as well.
Tommy.
I'm brand new.
All
so
right.
You're not supposed to know me.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to tell you.
I did love the
Yeah, fantastic. Have you ever been up to Santa Barbara to go wine tasting?
Yeah.
You'll have to put Benjamin on your list. You can.
I've been not on that particular project of wine tasting. No.
Right. Well, if you ever want to go up there, you just send me an email and I'll put you together with Benjamin. He'll get you an appointment and have you there. I'd love to take care of all of you. If you're going someplace special, please use and abuse me. I love to refer people to our friends in the business and just ask away. Okay. Let's go back into the action. I'm just getting a little relaxed after one heck of a week. It's been so busy around here. We had the great pleasure of producing a wine event for Michael Milken on Sunday. We raised millions of dollars for cancer research. It was my first event in over a year and a half outside of our confined Zooms, private event that is. So we used to do quite a few of those. I'm really hoping to do a number of them in the future. So if you or your company want to do a Christmas party, put me to work. We've got 3 more brands to introduce. We are going to go now to Chile. And I'm looking on my Zoom. I see Alejandro, the owner of Laura Hartwig, is on the Zoom. Hi, Alejandro. I'll ask you to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
There you are. I'm surprised to see you. What time is it in Brazil?
It's just about midnight.
Wow. You get extra points.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for being there, really. So let's get into it. You can. I know that you probably have your dinner reservation at 12:30, right?
No, I already had my dinner.
Well, are you still there?
I'm still here.
All right, disappeared from me for a second.
Was not my doing.
Exactly. There you are. I think I've got you on the screen now. There we go.
Right on.
Right. So, Alejandro, you are the proprietor, wine grower, Laura Hartwig. Tell us your story, sir.
Okay, well, this is a small family-owned vineyard located in the Colchagua Valley. You probably know other bigger wineries from Colchagua, like Montez, La Postol, Vieux-Manette, Montgras, Rothschild, Los Vascos. So it's an area that was rediscovered in the late 80s. We have been owning this property since 1928, when my grandfather bought the land. And during many years, the farm was devoted to annual crops and some cattle. My grandfather was actually devoted to the cattle business and not vines. And our small project is actually linked to California, as we talked earlier today, because my family was living in Canada during the 70s, and my father was motivated, taking a wine course in Canada. So he saw firsthand the success of the California wines, the New World wines at that point, that were getting better known to the rest of the world. And there is a tremendous similarity between the climate in Napa and our climate in Santa Cruz. It's actually, we did a study, climatical study, and there are two locations that have the most similar climate. I would like to point out that only 2% of the world, the whole globe, has a Mediterranean climate. So parts of Europe, Italy, France, Spain, parts of California, the West Coast, Australia, and Chile, and that's it. And it's on these very specific areas with Mediterranean climate where vines really love to thrive. So it was quite an estimated guess, but vines, of course, had been growing in Chile for hundreds of years, ever since the first Spaniards brought them there. So my dad started thinking of his retirement project, and he started planting vines in the late 70s. And ever since, we have been planting more vines, replanting. It's a trial and error. I joined the business in 1986. My background is in viticulture. I enjoy spending at least half my day outdoors. I like doing the farming, hands-on in the farming. I'm also involved in the winemaking, but the farming is where I have more experience. We have been concentrating our efforts on red wine varieties, Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Petit Verdot, and these are the varieties that make up the wine that we're talking about today, which is our Icon wine. It's a red blend from the 2013 vintage. The first thing I'd like to point out is that we have quite a large vineyard, 70 hectares, and so we have a lot to choose from. We only use about 20% of all the crop for our own winemaking. The rest of the fruit gets sold to other vineyards. We have selected small plots of land where we know we get the best quality. So the Cabernet Sauvignon, Cab Franc, Malbec, and Petit Verdot, which usually go into this blend, are picked separately. They get fermented separately in small vats of about 800 or 900 kilograms. We find there's we get lots of benefit from fermenting in these small units because the temperature doesn't vary that much. We get softer tannins, we get a more delicate contact with the skins, better concentration. After that, the wine is put into French oak for about 20 months, sometimes a little bit more. Our winemaker and our consulting winemaker as well have done a huge job selecting the right barrels from different forests for each variety, and we start working on this blend. I think the wine shows definitely the benefit of the four varieties. This is an opportunity, of course, for the winemaker to get the better expression of how these varieties will come together to reach higher quality. We don't have a specific formula. Each year, is trial and error. We just shoot for quality. Our location in the middle of the Colchagua Valley is on a alluvial soil. The hills and the land has been formed by about 50,000 years ago. So it's of alluvial content. We have quite a high percentage of clay, which allows for a big tannic structure, which is very appropriate for Cabernet Sauvignon, Cabernet Franc. I think in this particular vintage, the Cabernet Sauvignon gives the wine a very classy character, lots of cassis, length, and elegance. The Cab Franc gives it that wilder, earthier aspect. The Malbec brings out that bright fruit with nice, the nice tension you get from the acidity. And the Petit Verdot gives it that flowery, sometimes a little bit of graphite, that X factor, which is hard to identify. So we get lots of complexity. The wine has evolved very nicely. It's just now rounding out after being in the bottle for quite a few years.
And this isn't made in every year, right? This is like a special reserve blend that you're making.
That's correct. This particular vintage was 3,500 bottles. So it's a very small quantity. It's just an effort to bring out the very best of what we can get on each occasion. It doesn't have to be made on every vintage.
When this wine was submitted, we were tasting through a lot of wine that day, and I pulled the cork on this wine and tasted it, and I'm like, I had to like look really close. I was like, is this? I thought I was tasting a Bordeaux. I mean, it has so much going on, and it really is a beautiful, detailed wine. There's like some fresher aromas that may I said, tastes like it's from Napa Valley, old school Napa Valley. But there's also some wonderful balance between the earth and the varieties here. And it's just really, after 7-8 years in the bottle, it's just really showing off the complexity, and I just love this wine. I just think it's a really great find. You could pay a lot of money for a wine with this type of quality in many parts of the world, and this one comes in at a really good price point at its quality level. I want to congratulate you on the scores that you've received. 96 points, James Suckling. 95 points from Tim Atkin, one of my former teachers. Robert Parker, 91. So really great scores. This is a wine that has about 300 cases produced, right?
Yeah. I'd like to point out something that I consider of great importance. I think it's really good if you get the chance to pour the wine into a decanter and let it breathe for a while. The aromas really come out nicely, and the wine will open up after 15 or 20 minutes. I think you should definitely recommend people to do that.
We took that wine and poured it into 2-ounce jars all the way to the top, and we did that Monday. So these wines have been in the jar for 2 days, and
oh, wow.
And I mean, the wine was great on opening, but it really does continue to take on more complexity as it opens up, and it's showing beautifully out of the decanter. I think some people, maybe some people would be used to drinking younger, fresher wine, that is very fruit oriented. This wine has much more than that. It's got the character, the aged character that's showing is really beautifully detailed because of all the expense and effort that you put into putting in such great grapes, and the high quality of the fruit is really what's showing off here.
Thank you.
Any questions? You're sitting in Brazil tonight because you're there selling wine, seeing some distributors. You had a account call tonight too, huh?
Yeah, well, Brazil is a very important market for Chilean wine. Chilean wine is the #1 export to Brazil. This is my first road trip after COVID hit the rest of the world, and people are very happy to be able to taste it in person again. They're excited. The tourism is coming back again to Brazil. It's been a great opportunity to see old friends here as well.
We're very fortunate that we get to meet you and to taste this lovely production. And you guys make wine for many parts of the world. You have a small importer here in California, and that's how we were introduced to you. But we hope that if you do come to Los Angeles in the future, maybe we can do something and get to meet you in person.
That would be my pleasure. I always like visiting the U.S. Lots of friends there too, and I don't get a chance to go to the West Coast that often because most sales are concentrated in the East Coast and Canada as well. But I would love to meet everybody personally.
Yeah, you get a little bit of sales friction here in California with all of our California wines, but we're so happy to meet you and to put it into context. You know,
that's true, but I also get a chance to try lots of wines that I enjoy. So it's a challenge. Yeah. It's good. It's also nice to get a chance to talk to other winemakers from California.
Outstanding. Well, thank you for staying up so late, being in Brazil. And thank you. It's wonderful to meet you, and we'll do our best to represent you going forward. And we'll have this wine on our website for the foreseeable future until your 13 in supply is extinguished, because this value proposition is insane.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Wow. I hope you guys liked that as much as I did. That's a beautiful Chilean effort, a small producer. I will tell you that every bottle is hand numbered. The bottle in front of me is number 541 of 3,300. All right, another cool adventure, and I'm excited to have Diego Valsecchi on the Zoom with us, and he's going to be coming up next. Diego, pleasure to meet you, sir.
Hi, Ian. How you doing? Thank you for having me and all these beautiful wines and winemakers, and of course all these people behind. And thank you so much to put all this together.
Well, thank you. I was introduced to your wine many years ago, and I was really excited that we get to taste an older vintage tonight. Let's go right into it. Where are you zooming in from tonight?
Well, right now I'm out of the vineyard. I'm traveling to Buenos Aires, so I'll be out of Cafayate, Salta for a week. So yeah.
All right.
So yeah, if you want me, I can go ahead and talk a little bit about that vintage.
Sure, go for it. Have you seen the
Great.
slideshow that we're going to show?
Yep.
No.
No. All right. Well, here's slide number 1. Besides your beautiful face on the slide prior, here's our tasting note about the 2008. So go right ahead and take us through.
Perfect. Well, for probably many of you don't know where this wine is coming from. It's coming from northwest Argentina. We are on the east face of the Andes, right across from the Atacama Desert on the Chilean side, and yeah, we are on the high plains of Argentina. Our vineyards go from 1,800 meters to 3,000 meters, so that's we're talking about 5,000 feet to 9,000 feet, and it's been an area where grapes has been growing there for hundreds of years, and yeah, when I began working with these vineyards, there was almost 20 years ago. They already were 60 years old vineyards, and an amazing blend. That's the blend that I choose, which is a Malbec, Cabernet Sauvignon, and Tanat. And there's the 3 main red grapes planted many years ago, and they're like, you find it's mixed on the same load. So we pick all the grapes and we co-ferment we have that's the blend that we get, from the very nice old vine in this high desert, where thermal amplitude is very high, and yeah, so we are in a kind of like a high desert, to tell the truth, and very high peaks on the back from the Andes. We get our water from 5,000 to 6,000 meter high peaks, and where we irrigate these very nice old vineyards on this rocky granite soil mixed with this beautiful sedimentary and sand rock, and yeah, it becomes a pretty interesting combination for these grapes that we hand, and we're very lucky to get to ferment and make the best as we can out of these grapes.
It's so dense and so dark and so deep, and we're talking about a wine now that's we're looking at 13 14 years of age here. So it's really in a beautiful spot, and 2008 was a really good vintage.
Yeah, it was very nice vintage, and with Alto Andino, with this brand, we always looking at and have a very elegant wine, because in our region our grapes are very rich in everything, tannins, color, as you can see when you drink it, and to get the right maturity, we end up with high sugars too, and so it's very wild to work, and with so much on the table, So we try to come out with the nice, elegant, and very well aged wine. So yeah, it's very nice that after 13 years, the wine is at the stage that it is, and you guys get tonight to enjoy it. So,
Diego, where did you learn about winemaking? What was your path?
Well, I begin in always, very close to the wine regions, and well related, since young. But my main inspiration actually begins in California, and beginning working with an Italian friend of mine, and yeah, so that's kind of like the really lights on, to begin making wines. That was a little bit like a little more than 20 years ago, and on the same hand, I did a program on winemaking and viticulture in California, and then from there on, actually, I work wineries all over around the world, following a little bit the wines that I like, and the way of cultivating, the wines and the vines, and so I've been in organic and biodynamic all my life. I grew up in a farm, an organic farm, so I was always on that path. But 20 years ago was a little harder to find really good wines, that were made out of organic and biodynamic vineyards. So yeah, today, luckily, we are many more. so it becomes much easier. But so yeah, that was kind of like the very beginning, and yeah, work in France, in Italy, in Spain, and in Napa, many years about vintage. And of course, running the project in Salta and in Caballate in Argentina.
Fantastic. Well,
I'm just going to interject really quick.
This is my friend Carolyn Chen. She's
Hi.
the reporter.
Hi.
So Diego is in Argentina right now, and he's probably had a couple double shots of espresso I told him to have, because we're having wine and he has to drink coffee to stay awake right now. I did want to mention that. So Diego's pretty humble when he doesn't tell people about, like, he actually has had a lot of experience working with enologist and consultant Michel Roland, and also worked with the Harlan Winery up in Napa, and then how he found himself in Cafayate and up in the northwest part of Argentina was he's actually a class 5 whitewater kayaker, professional kayaker as well, and so he found himself up in the rivers up there, and so that's actually how I originally met him. But that's another story. And so so I was like, I wanted to add some of that in because I think he's getting a little sleepy right now.
as we all would. Well, so you've been able to make wine all over the world, as Caroline's pointed out, and not just your average wineries. We're talking the top world-class stuff. And that's evident here, because you didn't just go to make another Malbec. You made something extraordinary, and it's really beautiful to be able to taste it with some age. And I'd love to open up the floor to anybody on the Zoom to be able to talk to Diego, ask any questions about what's happening in your glass.
He also bottle and barrel ages. It's not released for 5 years.
Tremendous. And I haven't had time to write any notes on this wine, but is there a wine facility to go and visit you at, Diego? And is it pronounced Cafayate?
Cafayate. Yes, of course. So if you guys are around, or you're planning to travel, as soon these worlds open again, you're absolutely welcome to visit the vineyard and the winery, which is it's an amazing place. It's beautiful, very, very nice.
Well,
are you familiar with our friends at Condor Valley?
I know them. Yes, I know them. They are in Salta too. They're in a different area, different valley. Yes, they're a little more east actually. And yeah. They've been. I think they take like 3 harvests by now on their property, and yeah, they're doing a good job.
That's Martin Pekarek, and one of the owners is Hank Bannister. And because of Hank, we grow a little bit of wine in Mendoza.
Nice. Excellent. Beautiful.
This is the wonderful wine. Thank you, Diego.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yes, please, if anybody is interested in coming down to harvest, it's usually around Easter time, or in around kind of late March, April, it's a really nice area because it's super high vineyards, and it used to be the highest vineyards in the world. It's probably been trumped by another vineyard out in China now, but Colomé is also in the area, which is the highest vineyard.
That's Hess, right?
Yeah, that's Hess.
Yeah, that's Hess.
And if you go there, don't miss the mummies. The frozen mummies.
Yeah, the museum at the plaza.
Yeah, it's a wonderful part of the world.
I have not been, so we might have to talk about getting there, because the number of stories I've heard and the beautiful country that it is. For any of you that have potentially thought about going to Argentina, it really is quite a journey. You get into Buenos Aires, and then you fly from Buenos Aires maybe to Mendoza or to Salta, and of course Patagonia's way down here, and incredible diversity from place to place. But the vineyards in Mendoza between 2,500 feet and 4,000 feet. By the time you get up to Cafayate, you're 5,000 plus. So very high elevation. Actually, I think you said it already, Carolyn, that they were the highest elevation vineyards in the world.
Right.
And Tibet now, I think, is a little higher, right?
It was it kind of like it was just by like a few feet or a few meters that
Probably just planted a vineyard or one vine.
Yeah.
Either. This whole region is 5,000 feet. That's the difference.
On November 1st, Argentina is opening up its borders to tourism once again.
November 1st. Yes.
At least so they say.
Well, the dollar is super strong in Argentina too.
Yeah.
So the flight may break you, but once you get there, you could live like a king.
Yeah, it's beautiful. All the wine countries, either Salta or Mendoza, they're beautiful places to visit and amazing landscaping, and yeah, definitely a place to come and visit, and of course, drink beautiful wines.
That's gorgeous stuff, man. Thank you so much. Pleasure to meet you.
Oh, my pleasure, Ian.
Thank you, Carolyn. We Carolyn, as the importer, made the 2008 available to us, so we have a few cases available of 2008, and that's a real special treat. So think about grabbing some, and we have a very good price as well. So take a look at there. At 8 o'clock, it's probably right about there now, maybe a little past. You probably received an email with a special code, and that code will save you some money on these wines. Of course, you'll save 10% on the website at Merchant of Wine on any time you get to 12 bottles. But with that special code, you get the discount on one bottle. But if you're going to put together a case, don't even use a code, because you can buy any wine on the website and get 10% off on once you get to 12 bottles. All right. Last but not least, Judd, I'm sorry to keep you up too. I know you're in the same time zone. Diego's coffee is.
Hi.
Yeah. Hi there.
I saw you flash that photo a little earlier.
Yeah, that was
reminding me. So I went and changed so I could look. It's an advertising. I went and found the same sweater so I could.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Cool.
There.
We've had the pleasure of having you and your team on our Zooms in the past, and we're excited that you came aboard. We had this beautiful Malbec, so I thought it'd be fun to have you talk about Malbec and Napa Valley as well. So tell us about what's going on at Judd's Hill, and we'll get to the wine eventually.
Yeah, sure. No, I appreciate you having me. I always enjoy getting together with you and the cool crowd. Yeah, there it is. So that you always seem to assemble here. What can I tell you? We're a small family winery here in Napa Valley, and it's really cool to hear from so many folks from around the world, South America, Central Coast. We've got Ken and Gail from Bebop Cellars in Argentina. I mean, my goodness, they're joining us. That's exciting. I tend to get caught in a little Napa Valley bubble once in a while, most of the time, in fact. So these are great opportunities for me to learn about wine too. I just love participating. So thanks for having me along. What's going on at Judd's Hill? Well, we continue now into our 32nd year as Judd's Hill, but 40 something or other year of making wine in Napa Valley. There's a nice aerial shot of the winery. If you're visiting Napa Valley, we're right at the south end of Silverado Trail. That's only 1 mile north of the city of Napa. We're really easy to find. It looks like quite the adventure because you have to go over this little bridge from Silverado Trail and you don't know what's behind those trees. But once you get behind the trees, there we are. And I'd love to see folks. It'd be pretty cool. You've steered some folks to us in the past. We always have a good time together.
You do that yourself. They just come to me and say, I want to go to that Judd's Hill place because they were great on the Zoom.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. It's, you see all those vines there, and in that photo, I can almost guarantee none of those vines are producing Malbec. I think it is the least grown of the 5 major Bordeaux varieties in Napa Valley, that is. I think it's just barely over 1% of Napa Valley vines have Malbec planted. So it's a bit of a rarity. And I feel very fortunate that we were able to source a little bit from probably actually just out of view of this photo. It is in the Oak Knoll district, which is the south part of Napa Valley. So not far from where we are. In fact, probably just a little across Silverado Trail and north of us is where the fruit comes from. It's our bottling is 100%. Are you ready for me to talk about the wine? I don't know.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Actually, here's a little infographic about what's grown in Napa Valley as far as red varieties. And let's see, Malbec is it's down there a few, and it looks like 516 acres, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot in Napa Valley when you consider Cabernet Sauvignon is 23,500. That came from the Napa Vintners, that infographic. So yeah, not a lot out there. Okay. Oh, well, here, this tells the story of Judd's Hill, kind of. This is, I said we're a small family winery, and here's our small family. So that black and white photo is actually me enjoying perhaps my first wine. I've looked at that and I've asked my mom, does anyone remember what wine? I wish I knew what wine that was. But it obviously stuck with me because I'm still at it all these years later. The photo up there with me driving the forklift, that was taken probably circa, 79, 80. My family had built Whitehall Lane Winery along Highway 29 between Rutherford and St. Helena. That's where I grew up. That's where I got my chops making wine, punching down and pulling hoses and cleaning barrels. And I was just big enough to fit inside those tanks, so I was the one that they stuck in there to clean them, which sounds kind of awful, child labor, but to me, I didn't grow up with a swimming pool or anything. So what I could do is close that bottom hatch, maybe even invite a friend over, and we could fill it up maybe to that second hatch. You got to keep that second hatch open, can't suffocate the kids, but with warm water, and then we could swim around for a little while before getting some free labor. The photo underneath is, at the time of my girlfriend, now my wife, Holly, it was her first visit to Napa Valley. And it was while this photo was being taken, really. This was in the afternoon. She had taken vacation from her work in Los Angeles to come see me up in Napa Valley. It was harvest time. She got up early with us and she worked the destemmer. And you can see that she has a sweatshirt tied around her waist. It's all stained with grape juice, and it's chilly morning, so she was wearing the sweatshirt. It's probably about 100 degrees by this point. So the sweatshirt's off. She's sticky. She's covered in juice. She's stained. I think she got stung by a yellow jacket. And she's shoveling pumice, with all the grape skins that have come out of the press. She's shoveling that off the back of a tractor into the vineyard. And she was saying, "This is so fun." And I said, "Well, here's a keeper." And so she's kept me. Yeah. That photo was taken some time ago. And then those are my kids not those two. Those two are not my kids.
Oh,
the previous slide. Yeah. Those are actually really nice folks. I got to meet them, but those are my daughters carrying on the third generation of wine, grape stomping at Judd's Hill. And they're the ones behind. You might see this on some of our propaganda, these Be Kind buttons. And I would just invite anybody, if you're on Facebook, to look up Be Kind Napa. It's an organization that has now become a nonprofit and a whole movement looking to do acts of kindness and finding projects that will really help those in our community in need. So they're totally behind it, and it's a wonderful thing. And I'm proud of them. Okay, we can move on. Malbec in blending. For most of my winemaking life, that's really what I knew it as here in my Napa Valley bubble, being that there's not much grown and not much bottled as its own thing. We'd find once in a while, get a bottle from South America, most commonly is where I would find myself enjoying Malbec. I mean, not myself in South America, but I think you know what I mean. And we love it. We offer these bottle blending day camps at the winery, which these folks are doing. And Malbec is often one of the wines that we like to include. It's always Bordeaux varieties, and you can come and make your own blend. And we when you find your perfect blend, you get to bottle it up that day. And Malbec, I just think it's delicious, right? It adds this nice little, to me, there's a little spice, there's a little dark cherry to it in and of itself, and then it lends that to the blend. And I think something I dig about having Malbec in the blend is, besides adding a little spice to the bottling, it kind of lengthens out the finish to me. I really enjoy wine when I find out there's a little Malbec, and to me it just seems to enjoy lengthens the finish, I think is the best way to say it. So I do dig it in a big way, and it's been nice just over the past few years have we been making a little bit as its own bottling. And when I say a little bit, this is the third vintage that we didn't make it at the outset, and we don't make it every year, but when we do, it's only about 3 barrels, I think, at most that we make. So it's not a lot. Again, there's not a lot out there to be had. So we reserve a little bit for our blending into our Cabernet Sauvignon usually, and then about 3 barrels worth to make as its own wine. And it's 100%. A lot of our wines, we do enjoy putting a blend together. My father, one of his sayings that we still repeat around the winery often is, complexity is not an accident. So we really work to put the blend together, and the blend could either mean the varietals, or someone earlier was talking about, I think it was the Cabernet Franc. Was that Ben was talking about that maybe? About the different vineyard sources. Someone was talking about bringing those together. I think that's really important as well. And this is something else we offer, is our micro crush. In fact, this is how we found the Malbec source. We do quite a bit of custom winemaking for folks, and that could be vineyard owners who just want to have some wine made from their grapes instead of it going into a larger blend at a larger winery, or anybody can just call and we'll go find the fruit for them and make the wine from grape to bottle. And the Malbec came from a local vineyard owner who had this small block of Malbec, and surprisingly wasn't selling it, just wanted to have some made, and we tasted it in the process of making the wine. Like, this is phenomenal. We'll buy this from you, and we've been making it for a few years when we can get it, when there's a crop. So that's been a great way for us to test drive some fruit, is through that micro crush program. So if anybody wants some wine made, give me a ring. And I know time is limited, and it's already 8:30, so I'll wrap this up by saying, please come visit us. We love hosting folks. We make it a lot of fun learning about wine. That is my goal, is not to talk to you about wine, but have a discussion together where you're a big part of it, and we can make wine approachable, understandable, and fun. So we do that at the winery, as you see in the lower left corner there. And that middle pictures, we do events outside the winery, including wine cruises. That was taken on a cruise, and we have an upcoming one. Take a look on our website. It's coming up next April. We're going to Eastern Europe. You can see on the Danube, where we'll be drinking and learning about wine and having a great time. So I thank you all for being a part of this tonight and enjoying all these fabulous wines. And I hope that we can meet up in the future in person, either here in Napa Valley at the winery, or on the cruise, or both. Why not? Let's hang.
How do people find out about the cruise, Judd?
I said the website, and I'm not exactly sure. Our event page, I'm not sure if it's back up. It was down for a while when we couldn't have any events. But we do have a Facebook page, just Judd's Hill. You can email that info@juddshill.com. There's definitely some information on our Facebook page as well. And I always guarantee a good time.
Plus, he may play the ukulele and play some Hawaiian tunes for you if you're lucky.
If you're lucky or not lucky, depends how much you like ukulele music. But yeah, thanks for the plug, Gail. And again, I know time is fleeting here, but I'm happy to answer any questions about Napa Valley in general, Judd's Hill, or whatever. Anything but the Dodgers Giants, because we're not going there yet. Nobody mentioned anything. I'm not looking. I'm not checking scores. I'm not checking scores.
Well, I can tell you what the score of the Giants game was.
I didn't mean Giants. I'm sorry. Braves. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. It's ingrained into me. It was so exciting last week. The Braves Dodgers. No, we won't talk. I'm not checking scores. If there's anything else anyone wants to talk about, we can do it.
Well, I
call it a night and say cheers.
Just a real compliment because I do send a lot of people to Napa Valley. People contact me, and anytime we get someone that has gone to your winery, they rave about how much fun they had and how, you know, they didn't even want to leave because you guys just took really good care of them, and it's such a friendly place. So put it on your list of places to visit when you go to Napa, and make a nice selection of wines for people to try. And you have a really good wine club program. So
thanks, Ian. And when you do make it up, certainly let us know that we all hung out here, you know, with Ian, and, you know, learned about wine, and we'll make sure that you get the extra VIP treatment for sure.
Very, very cool. Well, I hope you guys tasted some fun things tonight, some different stuff. We love pulling these things together. And if any of you have any questions or comments, love to hear them. Any favorites, anything that was a revelation. I really enjoy putting the events together, being able to kind of think of this was our first time doing this type of multinational, I think I marketed it as kind of like a competitive tasting, but it really wasn't competition, more of a collaboration, and being able to get some ideas together and see some different things and meet some different people. But we'd love to keep you in our loop. The Stars events will continue. We are definitely trying to get a few live events up and running. But some people saw we put the Stars of Cabernet on Zoom again, because it takes a good 6 months run for us to be able to get enough energy behind the event, the wines, the participation, sponsorship, the location, the staff, and none of that is really in place for us yet. It's going to take a while for us we have to walk before we can run. We've been crawling through this COVID thing. The Zooms have kept us busy, but as you can imagine, they're not very profitable at the price points that we're selling our tickets at. It's just about keeping my staff busy and keeping a team together. But it complements our wine site, Merchant of Wine, which is doing very well and growing. But it's still a baby, and we just need to keep at it and keep doing hopefully a good job, and hopefully you guys will continue to come back and support. Tell your friends, join us. We have Stars of Merlot next week, which I couldn't be more proud of. The list of wines. It's like $650 worth of Merlot that you get to try, and there's some champions on there, and the people that will be on the Zoom live. And again, thank you to the winemakers. Even Judd, you work all day, and you're just coming out of harvest, or you're in harvest. So you got a lot going on, and guys down in the Southern Hemisphere traveling around selling their wine, having to be up late. This can challenge the body, but we do thank you for giving us your time. And to all of you who sat through the Zoom tonight, thanks so much. We love seeing you and having you here. Greg, any final words before the auction?
No final words. Just keep in mind, we got the auction going all the way through Stars of Merlot, which is October 28th at 9 p.m. So check it out. Tell your friends. Holidays coming up. There's a lot of great stuff on there, not just wine. And every bid goes to the charity. So bid frequently.
Some of you that I didn't get to say hi to yet, we'll stay on, but you guys say that Dodger game, go for it. And thanks so much, everybody. But I see Erna Blanche Imperatore. Is that close? Is that who is that? Is that Lisa Test?
I'm with Lisa.
Ah, bravo.
She's the Chilean here. I am Chilean.
Ah, well, very cool, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed. Rena Rawls. I see you at the Renee Rawls. Hello. Hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are able to come and see us again. Carolyn, Diego, thank you from Valsecchi. Setsuko joined us from Japan. We had the Resnicks on the Zoom tonight. That was nice. Beth Adams, thank you for introducing us to your beautiful Chilean friends. Joel, what did you like tonight? In fact,
Hi, it's Joel here. I really like the Carmenere and I love the Cab Franc.
Far out. Are those type of
They
wines?
were both excellent.
Cool. Are those type of wines you would normally trust and order?
Yes, I'd say so. Although I'm a big Paso fan, as you might know.
Awesome.
So I love Pasorillos.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to love there.
And but yeah, I thought all in all, very, very nice. Good choices.
Great. Great. Well, I enjoy producing the event because it brings together good people, good wine, and I learn a lot. Lauren, any closing comments from you, buddy? Maybe I took off your ability to unmute. I was trying to unmute everybody.
There I am. I couldn't figure it out. No, it was really good. I enjoyed the Pinot. I enjoyed this. Judd, thank you. It was very good. Good stuff. I haven't had Malbec that I've liked before until now. So this is my first Malbec that I think I'd enjoyed. So I would buy some. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of, when we try to make Malbec that's $9 a bottle, it's really hard to make it good. And so you got to pay a little bit more to taste something that you love. And most people, their first sip of wine is something like $2 Chuck. That might not be the first wine. That's probably not the wine that's going to encourage you to become a huge wine fan. But it could, be a little bit of a gateway. And we're all introduced with different things. My gateway drug was Bartles and James, 1985, Lake Havasu. So again, I want to thank everybody for being here. I'm going to get into my Dodger highlights or lowlights. We'll find out what it was in a minute. But I thank you guys for joining us. And Terry Kamali, thank you for bringing your group. Always love seeing that table full of great action. And to all of you, be safe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much. And grab that discount code and put it to work. You got 24 hours if you want to jump on something. And a lot of these wines we have some nice stock on. You want to buy some wine from Judd, please do. Join his wine club. And also get up to Santa Barbara, see Benjamin Silver, still on the Zoom. Thanks, Ben. Thanks for being with us. Good night, everybody.